My name is Amber Thompson, and I've been a burn nurse for a really long time. 16 years is a long time for me, but on and off. And I'm from UNC, Chapel Hill, and just really excited to come talk to you guys about some things that have changed our team there. And then after that, we have 4 different topics that will be square table discussion, rectangle discussions, and just some time to network with each other. A lot of times during these luncheons, you hear about issues, but you never get the answers. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And then you're like, well, I know, that's our issue too, but nobody told me what to do about it. So in the discussions, I want to encourage you to really close the loop on those and offer ideas to each other. But we're going to talk about, sorry if I'm really loud, I don't usually use a microphone. But we're going to talk about how to build your team through personalities and love languages. For those of you who are not nurses and, again, you're trapped in here, you can apply this to your marriage as well. It'll help. And if you're not married, then just, help out your dog or cat. I don't know. Anyway, so why is everybody so weird, right? It takes, it's really hard sometimes to understand other people. And this helps within families. We're getting ready to have Christmas, and all those weird people are going to come to your house. So this will help you with that, too. We're going to talk about knowing your own personality type and knowing love languages, how to make people feel valued, and it really does help with our team. So personality is really a collective, a lot of information, but based on character, your behavior, temperament, and it consists of a lot of factors. How we were raised sometimes plays into that too. But then behavior is a choice. It's our actions and our reactions. So personality you can't always change. You can modify it, but your behavior you can. So sometimes we get those mixed up. So understanding your work behavioral tendencies and developing an understanding of how these may affect others is our goal. And so you can see how this plays into teamwork. As you know, burn nursing is very much a team effort, and we can't do it by ourselves. And it's a multidisciplinary approach. And then understanding, respecting, appreciating, and valuing the individual differences, the weirdness of other people, essentially. And then how to better communicate because you understand their personality. So Gary Smalley actually is responsible for the animal personality type, and this started with marriage conferences, and then I leaked it into our precepting process, and so all of our new grads actually take a personality test. All of the nurses on our unit have taken the test, and then we're able to match up our preceptees and preceptors based on personalities, and it really helps with communication and understanding. And the way this kind of works, we're going to go through each one of them and kind of go in depth, but the way it looks, and you're going to identify with one of them, lion, otter, golden retriever, or beaver, you'll be able to say like, oh, that's me. And then you'll understand why other people are so weird. But the overview of them, before I go in depth, is you see these personalities played out at the bedside. And the description I usually use is during a code situation. There's a lot of different personality types that come out in a code situation. And there's usually one person that walks in the room, hey, you get a line, you do this, I need you over here, and they're very authoritative. They know what they want it a certain way, and they're not worried about your feelings when they're telling you what to do, okay? And so that's the lion personality type. The otter is always wanting to have a great time, okay? And you usually have a dominant personality type, and then you have like a secondary. So the otter in a code is like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting forever to do chest conversions. I'm so excited. Yay, this is great. And they're there for the fun, okay? The beaver, I'm going to do the golden retriever last. So the beaver is, I'm going to record. How much of that? When did you give it? Why didn't you tell me? You got to tell me. They are very, very analytical. Numbers, list, follow the rules. If it says 0.1, it better be 0.1, not anything less or more. Very rule followers, big time. And then golden retrievers are peacemakers. They just want to keep everybody happy. So in the code, the lion is giving the orders. They're telling everybody what to do. The golden retriever is going, if y'all need anything, I'm right here. I'll bring some blank. Y'all just tell me what you need. I just want to stay out of the way. I don't want the lion to yell at me because I might start crying if she does or he does. And I'm just right here. Whatever you need, anything you need. But please, God, don't ask me to do anything big because I don't want to do that. And then, the beaver the entire time is going, no one has recorded. No one. No one's even put it down yet, So there's this dysfunction, but it all works together. And it actually takes all 4 personalities to have a really well-ran, successful team. So you're going to identify yourself within these. But a lion likes to lead. So L and L is the way I always remember that. And they're very goal-oriented, and they don't usually, I don't want to say care because that gives the wrong impression, but they're going to get to where they're going and get to the top regardless of what's happening around them or who they step over or on to get there. Okay? Everybody else's lack of success does not bother them. It just helps them get to the top even more. So lions are just very goal-driven. They like to lead. They take control. They don't want people messing with their projects because they're probably not going to do it right. Okay? They're very aggressive personality. The strength is that they're goal-oriented, and these people they keep working right to the top. So my personality is lion, and in my interview 4 years ago when I came back to the Burn Center, I've left a couple of times because I just need a break. But my boss said, so what's your goal? What do you want to do? I said, well, I want your job. I wasn't planning on you saying that, but okay, I don't know how to handle that. So lions are very, they're visionary. They see it and they go for it. The weakness is that they're argumentative, but I guess we could call this areas of improvement, right? Because they are right. And I've told everybody, when you realize that I'm always right, you'll be right too for the first time ever. So it happens, but in a marriage, a lion's going to be right and say it no matter what. In precepting, if you put a lion with a golden retriever, you got to be really careful for that because lions will chew them up and spit them out. Not meaning to, but you have to be careful. Their limitations is that they really don't understand that their directness can hurt other people's feelings. They may understand it, but guess what? They don't care. That's right. Yeah, I know I said that bluntly. Well, can you work on how you deliver things? So lions send an email, I need you to turn this in. And then I just put my initial. I ain't got time to write my name and thank you and have a nice day and all that. So they're just very direct. So it comes across sometimes as, what would you describe that as? Rude. Yeah. How rude. She didn't even say, how are you? So I have to go back, delete, add some fluff in there and keep going. They have a really hard time expressing grace. They really are black and white. You either do it or you don't. You're either good at it or you're not. There is no gray kind of thing. So I know y'all are all thinking, thank God, I can be nice. It's not that I can't be nice, but it's just really directness. So I'm a work in progress. I've definitely been working on this over the years. So otters, very social. They have a lot of fun. They can turn anything into a party. And this changes over time. So I'm a lion. I've always been a lion first and an otter second, meaning that they were actually almost equal. But they turn everything into fun. They're very social. They have a lot of relationships, but not a lot of close, deep relationships because they're friends with everybody and they know everybody. Otter personalities love to goof off. So if you're a lion and you're with an otter, you're thinking, can we just get the work done and then play? And that's how lions feel. I will play once the work is done. Well, you're so uptight. No, we've got stuff to do. Okay? And then a lot of times jobs are kind of not done well because they don't always follow through with commitments. They're just kind of all over the place. They start lists, but then they lose the list. They can't find the list. But I had a list, but I don't know where it is. So they're just kind of a lot of fun. These are the people that keep the unit happy, if that makes sense. Then the lion's going, well, we can joke about that later, but right now we're doing this, okay? So their strengths, they're open, they're positive, they're people persons. They do talk a lot and too permissive, and they're also very open and sharing. If you can think about otters on your unit, you know everything about them. Everything about their husband, their dogs, their cats, their sex life, everything. You know everything about them because they do not withhold information. They just talk about everything. There are limitations that they really don't remember their commitments or they don't follow through with them. There is we could talk about ADHD, but that's another side note. And then following through with discipline is really hard. So otters can be persuaded. So if you're in a leadership position and you've got a discipline and you're an otter, then somebody may be able to talk themselves out of like whatever you're trying to do. Like, I know I've been late, but my grandma this or my gas this. A lion would say, the rules are the rules. Like, this is the policy, sign right here, have a nice day. And otter would be like, oh my gosh, you know what? I've been that way before too. And then they have this long conversation and they feel this connection before the person leaves and they just bent the rules for that person, okay? So, again, different. So golden retrievers, I'm married to a golden retriever for 18 years, yes. Very quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, doesn't make any decisions. It's interesting. But they're very sensitive. I have 0 of this in my personality. They're very caring and they're very, very loyal, to who they're around. So these are your employees that stay when they get there. They don't want to leave. They feel indebted to the people on the unit, the organization. I'm like, you do know they don't care about you, right? Like, anyway, so, but they're like, no, I've been here 15 years. They care a lot about me. And they have really deep relationships, and they are the peacemakers and keepers when they do not like confrontation at all. A lion can only see confrontation as a positive thing, like, oh, we got to talk about that now. A golden retriever will have huge anxiety. My belly's hurting because I got to talk to her about her time in attendance. I think I'm going to vomit because she said something that hurt my feelings, and it made me cry, and I don't know what to say about it, and it just goes on and on. And these are the people that I say, bless your heart. Like, I'm so sorry that you live this life. I bet you are exhausted. I'm sorry. Like, just tell her. Tell her she was hateful. Tell her she was this. Like, whatever. And thankfully, my very best friend is very much a golden retriever, and I help her all the time with how to be mean. Like, this is what you need to say. Say this. I can't say that. Yes, you can. Like, these people have, but it takes golden retrievers, too, to make a team work. So they're accommodating. These are the people that would never tell you no when you ask them to come in because they don't want to hurt your feelings or they don't want to make anybody mad. So they're calm, they're affirming. They are when, you know what hits the fan. They're your steady, calm. They're not going to get too excited, not going to get too stressed. They're going to just keep the peace the whole time. They're indecisive because they want whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy, I'll do it. Okay? These people do tend to kind of get ran over at times, taken advantage of. Not always, but it happens. Their limitations are that they know they need to be more assertive, but they have so much anxiety trying to do so. And then holding others accountable is really hard for them. So if you have a golden retriever in a leadership position, it's really hard for them to get on to people or discipline them. So just thinking about that. So beavers, love them. They're very organized. They are the reason why there's any records on the unit or why we have a spreadsheet or, an otter's going to say, oh, dear God, look at that spreadsheet. What is that? I can't touch it. Like, this is just too much. But beavers, have an exact way of doing things. These are the people that go to the grocery store and actually have it mapped out. Like, they go in a route. Y'all know who you are. I see you looking. I see it. And so they're like, oh, I have to go this way because that's on the list. I mean, you make the list according to it. I don't know. It's way too much for me. But so they don't usually forget things. And if they do, they get really, really, really frustrated. And otters drive beavers crazy. Crazy. So if you're married and the other one's, the opposite, I get it. Beavers do sometimes need a lot of reassurance because they're so black and white that they have a hard time kind of seeing everybody else's side. So if they're on a team, they sometimes can need some reassurance that, yes, we're with you, yes, we hear you, yes, we're moving forward, yes, you're doing it the right way, those kind of things. So they have very, very high standards. So a beaver is somebody that's going to put impossible things on their list to get done for the day. Like, there might be 85 things, okay? And it might say go to the bathroom, but you need to check that off, right? So you're going to have that on there. But they put really high expectations on themselves, big time. They have big time as respect is very important to them. They will not usually see the optimistic side of things. It's black or white too, like with lions. And they have a really hard time with flexibility. Like an otter will say, hey, we're supposed to be at that meeting at 1. So what time is the otter going to get there? Yeah, 1:05, whenever they feel like it. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's just a suggestion, right? Just the time is a suggestion. And the beaver is saying, I'll be there 15 minutes before. If you're not early, you're late. Exactly. So that's exactly what happens. And then otters come flying in, toilet paper hanging out their foot. And, lions are going, I'm just here to see what's in it for me. That's why I'm here. So you kind of see the difference. And the golden retriever's going, I just hope they have a good seat for everybody so everybody can see. It really is. It happens. So you'll find that people have a primary character and a secondary character type. You really need to look at yourself. I'm going to give you some, making sure my time's okay. We're going to pass around so this is the deal. I really had all these expectations. I'm just going to tell you like it is. Okay. I am a lion otter. Okay. So does anybody want to know when I prepared for today? I mean, I've done this talk before. I don't need to prepare. But my golden retriever friend said, have you did this? Have you done this? No, it's fine. They'll be fine. They'll be okay. She's like, you stressed me out so bad. So I wanted to make copies of this quiz because I was like, I'll just pass it out and they'll do it while they're eating. It's great ideas. And then it was $102. I mean, I love y'all, but I'm not going to pay $102 for copies. Like, are you kidding me? So when I found out they weren't free, I was like, well. So we're going to pass around a piece of paper. You can actually Google Gary Smalley Animal Personality Test, and you'll get some different versions of it. But I have a PDF version that we use on our unit. And if you want that PDF version, just put your name and email address, and I will email it to you because it gives a lot of good information for that. So you're going to think about what your primary one is and what your secondary one is. They naturally go together usually and make a wonderful set of strengths. But it does make you more sensitive and aware of other people and their personality types. So sorry, that was that. See, I'm always a step ahead of myself. But so the way this looks in a unit is, we'll talk about that in just a second, is that if I am a lion leader, then I'm going to be really careful whenever I call a golden retriever in to discuss with them their time and attendance, right? But just because I'm a lion doesn't mean that that's an excuse to be rude, because it's not. It means that I need to be aware that I can come across harsh, and I have to kind of stop and think about and choose my words wisely, right? So none of this gives you an excuse. So don't go home and tell your husband, like, no, I can be this way because it's my personality and you got to get over it, right? Don't do that. But it really makes me aware to say, like, okay, I know that personality type, so I call her in here. I have to be careful. When lions see somebody crying, they don't know what to do with them. They don't know at all. So I'm like, it's okay. It'll be okay. Here are some Kleenexes. But I've really, over the years, learned to, I'm really sorry. They're horrible listeners because they're thinking of what they're going to say next. And so it makes me more sensitive to other personality types, if that makes sense. So in the workplace, whenever you have a team of people, if you know their personality types and y'all all know each other's personality types, it actually does make you kind of stop and think before you approach that person. So if you don't have something like this already on your unit, there's actually really quick quizzes that you can take. Have each other talk amongst themselves, do it at a staff meeting, I don't know. I mean, make something fun out of it. And really it will help your team communicate because your golden retrievers, they get overlooked, but a lot of things go a long way with them. So I'm not trying to confuse you, but long story short, use this to communicate between each other. And then the last part of that we use on our unit is the love languages, which I'm sure you've seen over the years. And again, this started out in marriages and then in marriage training, and now it's really in the corporate world a lot. And this is really how does someone feel valued? Because if someone's not feeling valued, are they going to stay where they're at? If they're a golden retriever, they will. I'm just kidding, sorry. But no, they won't, because you want to feel valued, right? So the 5 love languages, there's words of affirmation, there's gifts, personal touch, acts of service, and quality time. So yeah, those are great, but how do I apply those in a 12-hour shift, or how do those work? So we're going to talk about that. So actions, for words of affirmation, actions do not always speak louder than words. These are the folks that really need to hear words of affirmation. They need to hear, good job, way to go. I noticed that your patient looked great this morning. I noticed that all of your lines were labeled, whatever it is, yeah. Insults can leave these folks really shattered. So if a lion walks into somebody that has words of affirmations room and says, this is a pigsty in here. This is so messy. What in the world? And you're thinking, like, who cares? I just talked about your room. It's not like it's personal. It's just your room. But these folks will be like, wow, I have done X, Y, Z, and you didn't even recognize those things. You only just whatever. So words of affirmation, lots of, you're doing a great job, high fives, those kind of things. So the way that we love on or value our words of affirmation, folks, send emails. I'm a handwritten note person. I actually read a book about the art of the handwritten note. I mean, I don't suggest anybody doing this, but I mean, big deal to me is to handwrite notes. So I love to do that, put them in people's lockers, leave Post-it notes for recognition. Words of affirmation go a long way if this is their love language. The way you know what your love language is what you speak. So if you are the person that's constantly telling other people what a good job they do, then you're probably, words of affirmation is your love language, probably. So quality time. This is mine. It's exhausting. But nothing says that you're valued like undivided attention. It means that that person is looking at you. They're not looking at their phone. They're not looking at their computer. They're not looking at the patient. They're looking at you when they're talking. They're not doing anything else. And the quality time can be anything. It could be going to the grocery store together. It can be going to it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're together and there's undivided attention. That's how quality time people are. So the team member feels truly special and valued when they know that you're listening to them. So this person comes in and says, hey, can I talk with you for a minute? I got some stuff going on at home. And they start to talk and you get a phone call. And you take the phone call over listening to them, then they no longer feel valued during that time, or at all. So distractions, postponed dates, or the failure to listen is really hurtful for these folks, okay? These are the people in a marriage that are like, oh, I don't care as long as we're together. As long as we can just do that together, I don't care what we do. Really. So giving someone your undivided attention, they love lunchtime, dinner time, social time, and they really want to know that you're hearing and listening sympathetically. Receiving gifts. We had a nurse on our unit that would bring in, every night shift, she would bring in candy, gum, like all the time. And she would set them up, and she would just be so happy. Like, did you get some yummy chocolates? Like, oh, she's so sweet. And she's definitely a gift person. And she would cry if you, gave her a pen. She's like, oh, just so important. Like, you love me so much. And that's how she was valued. But she spoke that language all the time. So we didn't even need her to take the quiz. We knew what hers was, immediately. If you speak this language, the perfect gift or gesture shows that you're known and you're cared for and you're prized above whatever else. If you miss a birthday or an anniversary, or you just pick up something that was a thoughtless gift for these folks, it really makes them feel devalued and not important. So on the gift giving, it's, gifts you buy, gifts you make, or gift of self. All of those are important to the person that likes to receive gifts. So if you are constantly giving gifts and you can't wait, you're the person that's like, I love Christmas time because you give gifts, and you can't wait to see the reaction, you're probably one of these speak a lot to you. Acts of service, it says, can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love? For those of you who are acts of service, you are saying, absolutely it can. You're saying, I don't need my husband to spend time with me. I need him to take the trash out. I need the dishes to be done. If you want to love me, have the house clean when I get home. So my husband's acts of service, and I'm quality time. You're always going to have the opposite, because, why would it go together? And so if I come home, he's usually doing acts of service because he's speaking his love language. But I think he needs to sit down because I can't talk to you while you're taking the trash out. I need you to be right here. So if I want to speak his language, then I try to have all of those things done for him. And then, you're supposed to not, pat yourself on the back and, brag about it. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I already put the laundry away. I did this and this and this and this and this. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that part. But anyway, so the words he or she want to hear is, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tells them that you don't care about them. So in a setting of work, if this is the person, if they're acts of service and it's their love language, that you just go by and change out their fluid bag. But you don't go find them and ask them if they want you to do that. You just do it. Or you run in and see a need and you meet it. And you don't toot your horn for the rest of the day that you did it. So you're just meeting them where they are. This language can be exhausting for those who don't speak it. It's exhausting because it's acts of service. You're constantly doing for this person. They feel valued when others make their load lighter without them asking to. So giving meds, taking out the trash, helping with their baths, all those things. And again, these people, you speak whatever language you usually are. So a willingness to examine and change the way we value others is necessary in order to express, and I know it says love, but even just value and kindness and respect to each other is really what it should say. So there's no reward for maintaining ignorance, meaning that, if you know that about the person, why do the opposite to them? That's just being rude. So when we know better, we do better. And then physical touch, this is definitely not all about the bedroom, which would be really awkward if that's what we were talking about in here, but it's not just physical touch, it's definitely, meaning it's not about the bedroom, it's like a high five, fist bump. They're the person that's rubbing your arm and they don't realize it because they touch everybody. You know what I'm talking about? And lions are usually not this person, so they're like, oh dear Jesus, they're rubbing my arm right now, and I'm not gonna say anything, but anyway, so they're the huggers. Oh, come here. I just love you. It's so good to see you. And they're touchy all the time, touch, okay? I'm not that way. But they can always, there's ways to show excitement, concern, care, and love by touching to them. So physical presence and accessibility are crucial, while neglect or abuse can be unforgivable and destructible. That just means that even if you're just there and they know you're there, that's a physical touch that makes them feel better. These folks love hugs, high fives, fist bumps. They're nurses that are quick to hold a patient's hand or give them a hug. I am not a toucher or a feeler at all, but when it comes to my patients, I am. So it's kind of crazy, right? I'll hold their hand all day, put my face to their greasy, bassy face anytime, but I am not like that outside of my patient's room. But personal space for these folks can sometimes be an issue, and a lot of times they really have no idea that they're touching someone because it's such a second nature for them. So you want to find out what your primary love language is, what your team members are so that you can help them feel valued, and then learn how to speak the love language of your team members so that you can express that. The quiz for that is www.5lovelanguages.com. I would have your spouse take it. It'll help your marriage a lot. But we also have our nurses do this quiz as well. And we do all of that in our precepting period. So, during precepting, a lot of times new grads feel really I can't do anything right and I don't know what I'm doing. And these are the ways to love on them through that.